Hello everybody, Aiden here, and welcome to another video on the Around the Slice Entertainment YouTube channel. I am very excited right now because just this morning, at the time of this recording, on Twitter and the Nintendo Today app on the smartphone app, a little beforehand, a Nintendo Direct was announced. Before we get to those details, though, I am going to be doing official predictions, but before and what I'm thinking will be there tomorrow. Before we get to that, though, however, if you enjoy this content at all, at any point, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel, as we always have a ton of awesome, great, and amazing and fun content coming out around here on a weekly basis. Hell, even multiple times a weekly basis at this point in time. Of course, tomorrow, come on back for my direct reactions in terms of highlights, biggest takeaways, disappointments, letter grade, and then a couple of TV shows that I'm really excited for at the end of the month of June. The Bear Season 5 and Season 2 of Avatar The Last Airbender live action series. Looking forward to that a lot. And then a few movies throughout the month. Disclosure Day, Toy Story 5, and Supergirl. And then the two big tentpole titles, summer blockbusters, if you will, of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and the new MCU entry of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So yeah, guys, crazy to say out loud right now from my perspective, but this is I know that for a fact that this is the first ever video game or video game related content that I've done for you all on this channel. Because of that, I don't know how I missed all this time, but because of that, I will absolutely be doing more of it going forward for you all loyal fans and whatnot. So thank you so much for that. Today, though, I'm going to be... first, let's go to the details of the Direct. So this morning, it was announced a Direct tomorrow at the time of this recording and video release, June 9th, 2026 at 7 a.m. Pacific and /10 a.m. Eastern, that means. And it's going to feature roughly 50 minutes of new Nintendo Switch 2 game lineup reveals and such. Something to that effect was the wording there. And then there's going to be a 90-minute, hour-and-a-half long Nintendo Treehouse Live afterwards, but we're focusing on the 50-minute Direct itself. 50. That wasn't clear enough already. So, yeah, I'm guessing, actually, I know there's going to be a slew of third-party games. There's going to be a few indie titles here and there from some outside sources and outside overseas companies here and there. But we are just going to focus on the big, exciting, at least for me personally, big, exciting first-party franchises and IPs, properties for Nintendo at hand. I'm going to go over each franchise, where they've been recently in the recent past, mind you, and where they are right now and going forward, and then give an official prediction within that franchise for what we could see is related to the franchise in the Direct tomorrow. First, let's start with the man himself, the man of the hour, if you will, the mascot of Nintendo himself, Mario. I'm just talking about mainline Mario here, 3D Mario and 2D Mario. We'll get to Mario Sports later. We'll get to another Mario spinoff later, but these are the mainline 3D/2D Mario. Obviously, much to my disappointment, as I'm sure many others that I've seen, we haven't gotten a brand new 3D Mario since October of 2017. 8.5 freaking years. That is insane. Whether it's an Odyssey 2 for a sequel for that, whether it's a Mario Galaxy 3 has been thrown around, hell, a whole new 3D Mario if they want to introduce a brand new storyline and not go the sequel, really a trilogy route, fine, do that. But we haven't gotten anything in 8.5 years. That is insane to me. At this point now, it's been beaten to death. Because we predicted every single major Direct in the past, and because it hasn't happened, I feel like the September Directs every year are more for 2027 teases, and then the June Direct, maybe a teaser two here and there, but mainly the rest of the year, not as huge grand scale for 2027, if you will. Because of that, this pains me to say, my official prediction is we will see nothing here in terms of mainline 3D Mario and 2D Mario, and more specifically, mainline 3D Mario. It really pains me to say that, but yeah. Now let's go to Nintendo's second biggest franchise, Zelda, Legend of Zelda. I personally tried to get into it many times, specifically with Breath of the Wild, and I tried to get into Majora's Mask when I was little, 9, 10, 11, give or take, somewhere on there many years ago. But guys, for whatever reason, I just can't get into it. It's too slow for me. I know many people love it, but for me, for Nintendo, it's Mario and Pokemon, and then everything else in terms of games I like absolutely need to finish in a quick fashion. But obviously, it's been beaten to the ground at this point. And Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess remakes have been rumored for what? 3-4 years now, a few years now, at the very least. And because of that, this seemed like an obvious thing a couple years ago to put at the end of the original Switch's life cycle. But because it's been rumored into the ground, beaten into the ground, if you will, so many times at this point, I think these remakes not only are finally announced, but they need all caps need to be finally announced. I feel like Nintendo loves remakes, loves ports, loves remasters. That's all they've been doing over the last 2 or 3 years, it feels like. So why not add to the collection of the status quo, if you will, with those two? Donkey Kong, excuse me. Now, I still have to get into it and pick it up. For whatever reason, it just hasn't been on the top of my mind. I've been playing other video games across Xbox and Switch of the like. So, yeah, obviously, many people loved it, I heard. Donkey Kong Bonanza was released just last summer. So, because of that, in turn, obviously, we will see nothing here. Yeah, everyone was clamoring for Donkey Kong to return to a 3D platformer a la in the vein of Donkey Kong 64, which, by the way, last week, I still have to crack into it. But, by the way, last week, Donkey Kong 64 was placed on the NSO service if you have the expansion pack. The Nintendo 64 expansion pack, that is, mind you. So nothing's going to happen here, but it doesn't need to. We can chill for 2 or 3 years with Donkey Kong Bonanza just last summer, let alone I have to pick it up myself as well. Animal Crossing. This is interesting. Believe it or not, it has been a little over 6 whole years since we got Animal Crossing New Horizons. Speaking of Animal Crossing New Horizons, that game was not kept up very well with Nintendo. I feel like it came and went in a year or so. Damn near not even around there. But update 3.0 kind of gave it a quote unquote second life, if you will, back in January. From January and February, even into March, many people, including myself, mind you, got back into Animal Crossing. My brother and I were going to each other's islands around Christmas time, New Year's time, and that's what gave it a second life to so many people, including me and my own household. So that was really fun. I'm gonna go with a fun prediction here. I don't know if this necessarily happens, but this is me kind of wish casting. Back up, Ada. Wish casting, excuse me. The original AC game, the original Animal Crossing game, will be released on GameCube NSO. Animal Crossing. It's a huge summertime vibes game, whether it's little kids, teenagers, or adults such as myself alike. Huge summertime game. And I feel like the 3.0 update a few months ago, coupled with going into the summer, the original Animal Crossing GameCube NSO would make a ton of sense. The GameCube NSO needs to expand its library as it is. There's only a few games on there right now. So, yeah. Next, I'm going to get to a handful of franchises that are kind of tertiary, kind of secondary, if you so would, mind you, to the most popular Nintendo franchises, the big four of Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Donkey Kong, in that order that we just went over. These franchises I'm about to announce to go over with you guys are still popular, but not as popular. They're not as popular as the main four I just mentioned, but they're still popular nonetheless. Metroid, after years of clamoring for it, after 7-8 years of development, 7-8 years of teases, Metroid fans were fed for sure with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, was just released a handful of months ago at the end of last year in December. Kind of a weird December game. It kind of got overlooked. I've heard some mixed things. I'm not a Metroid guy. I've thought about getting Metroid Dread. I thought about getting Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Maybe I'll check out some of the NSO stuff in Super Metroid and stuff, games like that. But, I mean, obviously my prediction is we see nothing here. We got Metroid Dread just 4 or 5 years ago in the 2D vein. And then in the 3D vein, we just got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, 6 months ago? So, yeah. Pikmin, I bought Pikmin 4 thinking I would love it or even like it. I don't know. It's just not my style. Pikmin 4, as a reminder, was released in July of 2023, I believe. Yeah. right here, 2023, a few years ago. Damn, that's seems like just yesterday, but it's 3 years ago. Approaching damn near that. I thought I'd like it or even love it, and it's just not my thing. The gameplay mechanics just weren't for me. But my prediction is this has been heavily leaked at this point by many, many insiders over the last 2 or 3 weeks, a week or two or so, give or take, right around there. A Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition is announced. I think a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition makes too much sense at this point. Next, I'm going to go over this one quickly. Star Fox, obviously, a couple weeks ago, we got that surprise Star Fox Direct, and it revealed Star Fox Switch 2 edition. It's basically just a port / remake of, they love to do this, a remake of Star Fox 64 from back in the day, and a couple decades ago. So yeah. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. Obviously, as a reminder, the Star Fox Switch 2 game edition releases on June 25th, 2026. So we are just a mere few weeks away from that. And because of that, my official prediction is we see a last-minute sales push in the vein of a trailer, a new trailer, or at least maybe no new story details would be nice. I don't think they're going to spend anywhere near a ton of time on that. I'm thinking 3 to 5 minutes, like tops, because we already know so much about it already from that surprise direct revealing it a couple weeks ago. Next, Mario Kart World. I'll say it. This game needs a second life badly, guys. They desperately need people to get back into it because it obviously launched with the Switch in June 5th, the day of June 5th, 2025. We're now exactly a year later, and people are not talking about it. It was dead after 2 or 3 months. I'll admit it, it was boring. There's only so many times you can race across the whole tracks, every single track, over and over and over again, whether you're by yourself or with friends. But speaking of by yourself, the roaming mode, there's no story mode. I would love to see like a campaign story mode. I know it's never really been done in Mario Kart before, but this is a big Switch 2 push. Why not go big and bold with it? Speaking of big and bold, my prediction is this needs to happen or else it's a failure, in my opinion. A paid DLC pack adding new characters, new modes, most importantly, maybe a big, meaty, beefy solo campaign story mode is announced. Very similar to the Booster Course Pass a handful of years ago, 5 or 6 years ago now, a handful of years ago with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the original Switch. Obviously, Wii U was Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out on the Switch one, the original Switch, if you will. So that game had a ton of life, 8 or 9 years, damn near a decade. Crazy to think about, but I don't think this game will last that long, but we need some reinvigoration. I don't know how to say that word. We need some reinfusion, there we go, of life for sure, or else it's a failure, in my opinion. I talked about the mainline 2D, more specifically 3D Mario scenario. Unfortunately, that will get passed over. I'm predicting, it pains me to say it though. Let's talk about some spin-offs. Mario sports games. Point blank, the Mario sports games, largely for the most part in Switch, have been really disappointing. I really enjoyed Mario Golf Super Rush. The story mode was lacking, but still, I really enjoyed it. That's why I didn't even play the story mode. And then I skipped over Mario Tennis Aces this past February just because people said it was just stale and boring like so many others. And then Mario Strikers Battle League was just an abomination. I was so excited, and it was just a complete horrible failure, in my opinion. They just all feel so boring / bland, and then they're unfinished, and then they try to get us to buy content that is literally part of the game that should have been part of the game. They're underbaked, if you will. They're unfinished, and they all just run into one another and feel very repetitive and way too freaking similar at the end of the day. I would love to see Mario Hoops. Like, I loved these as a kid. Mario Hoops 3-on-3. Mario Super Sluggers on the Wii was legitimately my jam, legitimately one of my absolute favorite video games of all time, let alone Mario games of all time for sure. My brothers and I and Dad had such a blast with that. Damn, what a time that was to be alive. But yeah, anyways, guys, that was so cool. I would love to see a Mario Hoops 3-on-3 kind of like maybe a full 5-on-5 mode, or I would love to see American football, like tackle or flag. I'm not picky in that sense, but realistically, I would have thought that a Mario baseball game would be a great send-off for the Switch a handful of months ago, right before last summer when the Switch 2 came out. Like, you didn't need to release it on both. It's not even a big game. Like, just throw it at the end of the Switch 1 life cycle. But they didn't do that. I've been saying that for the last 2 years. Now I think it's beyond time. A new Mario baseball game is announced. It gives us the foundation of Super Sluggers again, but it gives us more top-notch story modes. It gives us more expansive stadiums and expansive characters. I just hope it's not underbaked. God, that break my heart, underbaked like so many other Mario sports games these days in the recent past are. Next, another Mario spinoff, but obviously a much bigger level spinoff IP than Mario sports games, Super Sluggers, 3-on-3 hoops, what have you. Luigi's Mansion. I'm gonna say I've only played the first couple hours of Luigi's Mansion 3, but I'll admit, even with that little experience spent with that, it is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous looking game. It is by far the best looking game on the original Switch, on Switch 1. Hell, in today's day and age, it even rivals, this sounds crazy to say, it even rivals some games, some titles on Nintendo Switch 2 with those visuals. The story is really captivating. The characters are really captivating from the little time I played with it. Maybe this Halloween, I'll go back and play it. Speaking of Halloween, I think that this is obvious. Luigi's Mansion 4 being announced and releasing in mid to late October just in time for Halloween just makes way too much damn sense. Guys, I mean, like, damn, like, that's just perfect. And then I want to throw in Pokemon because obviously it's their own thing with Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, but it's always tied to Nintendo in one way or another. So we got a couple really cool things lately. Back in the Pokemon Day, Pokemon Presents type thing, we got Fire Red and Leaf Green for $20 each, ported to the eShop. I played the shit out of Fire Red that day. Hell, next 2 or 3 weeks, give or take. So, yeah, back in February. Also back in February, this kind of surprised me. The release day, at least. Winds and Waves Gen 10 was announced back in February, but it's not releasing until 2027. I'm really surprised that the Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, whoever the hell is involved there, didn't want to push this and market this as their big 2026 holiday game later this year in 6 months or so, give or take. But I'm thinking it's holiday 2027, which is unfortunately really far out. I don't think we see anything from Pokemon here. I think they expand on what they already told us about the few starters, the landscape, the region itself, the name of it, etc. I think they give us way more details in Pokemon's own Pokemon Presents, as they tend to love to do in late July / early August, per usual, a yearly occurrence, it feels like at this point. And then some miscellaneous things here and there, just a couple things items that didn't necessarily fit into a specific franchise, if you will, but they're impactful nonetheless for consumers such as myself. I think a Switch Sports Resort is absolutely 100% going to be announced. This is a slam dunk. This is a home run. Whatever sports time you want to use, speaking of Sports Resort. I was really disappointed when Switch Sports came out, 4 years ago now? Damn, that's a while ago. 4 years ago now, in the winter of 2022, I believe it was, that the Sports Resort games / mini games weren't included, or at the very least, 3 or 4 a handful of months later, they could have done a paid DLC expansion pack, but they didn't. So I think a separate Switch Sports game would just be awesome going into the summer because there's a lot of surfing going on in those types of games. Like Wii Sports Resort on the Wii is legitimately better than probably Wii Sports itself. And I think Switch Sports Resort in turn, to connect the two, could be better than Switch Sports itself. And then a game that was revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase, that is yesterday at the time of this recording and publishing, that is coming out on all platforms, PS5, Xbox Series S/X, and for this scenario, Nintendo Switch 2, in spring of 2027 across all platforms. Spyro, A Realm Beyond. The Spyro games is always, the Spyro trilogy, has always interested me. I've never picked it up, but this game looked really, really awe-inspiring. And I think in addition to Xbox Game Showcase, Nintendo wants to show it off at their own specific event. I think we do get a new trailer at the very least, new details about Spyro: A Realm Beyond. So anyways, guys, no third-party stuff, no indie titles. That's just straightforward checking in with each and every single first-party Nintendo franchise, IP, and property, where they've been, where they are currently, where they are going forward, and coupling that with my official predictions for the Nintendo Direct on June 9th, 2026. Again, like I mentioned at the top of the video today, please come back tomorrow for my biggest takeaways, highlights, disappointments, and final letter grade for the Direct. Let me know down in the comments below this video, what are you hoping will be at the Direct? What are you predicting will be at the Direct? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I'm too hopeful on? Is there anything I'm too hopeful / bullish on? Let me know all that down in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter at aWeingartner13 for any additional video game. Now, as we'll be ramping up video game content going forward, for sure any additional video game, movie, and or TV show thoughts, opinions, and discussions over there. Please share this video with anyone and everyone you know. I greatly, truly do appreciate the support as always. The growth lately has been amazing. I will see you in the next one. Enjoy tomorrow. Goodbye.